Welcome to the BarthCalderon Wealth Protector Podcast. Our founder, Harry Barth, and his son, Brad, are top speakers on asset protection and estate planning to many incredible groups across the country, including the Women Presidents Organization, Vistage, the Young Presidents Organization, the California Apartment Association, and many more. And now, here is your host, Paul Hitchcock.
Hi, this is Paul with the Asset Protection, Estate Planning, Business Planning firm BarthCalderon. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'm here with my colleague Kraig. Kraig, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Good to talk to you.
Great, thanks for joining. And so obviously this blog is about college cost reduction, and that's a really, really important deal today with the rise in the cost of sending your child to college. It's just astronomical today. So you read a little bit about that blog, and what we wanted to do is get Kraig on the video here because Kraig is our expert in this area. And just 2 weeks ago, we put on a workshop for a ton of parents with school-aged children, both grammar school and high school. And the room was packed. There was a ton of Q&A. It was really, really enthusiastic. And so Kraig and I, as we were talking afterwards, says we got to get a blog out and talk about this. So we're going to keep this video short. Thanks for listening. So I'm going to jump into it, Kraig. So one of the things I wanted to get across here, which I talked about in the blog, is the expected family contribution. So can you describe what that is and what parents need to know about that?
The infamous EFC, absolutely. So the expected family contribution is a fantastic number that the federal government has come up for, and the college board has come up with, that basically take your assets and your income and the number of kids and how big your family is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this formula kicks out a number that says, based on all of this information, this is how much we think you can contribute, kick in to the price of college, based on your income and assets. It's a number that colleges will use then in their assessments of you for scholarships, for gift aid, for a variety of other things.
So the point that you and I always talk about, and what I made in the blog, is that parents, a lot of parents probably have never even heard that phrase, expected family contribution, but every family is going to have that number. And what you figured out, understanding this whole process of trying to get financial aid, is you figured out how to reduce that expected family contribution for families. So there will be more aid for them. Is that right? Is that what the focus is?
It is. It's more aid, I guess, more assistance that's available. And it's the opportunity to handle all the numbers and all your assets correctly, being able to report accurately, but to report properly with the right structure means that you can actually effectively lower your expected family contribution. I mean, one family recently, they were about to send in their free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA form, and they had a major mistake. They were about to report their real estate incorrectly. There was a change that they could make that they did not know, and that one change, Paul, one change reporting that real estate correctly is over $130,000 a year savings over the course of 4 years of college for their daughter. It was incredible, that one mistake.
You mean $130,000 over the 4 years that they were going to school?
That's over the 4 years. So that would have been $130,000 out of their pocket that was missed just by reporting their real estate holdings incorrectly. It was a big deal.
Yeah, so the point here, and I know that you talk about in your workshops, is parents need to understand this, what appears to be this Byzantine process of getting aid. They've got to understand it, take control, know how to avoid the mistakes, and that's what you're focused on, I know, when you're meeting with parents, is really educating them on the process, understand the common mistakes that are made that will just kill them in getting financial aid and set them way back. And so you do these complimentary assessments for that.
Yes.
And a question I want to ask you in relation to that is, a lot of parents always say, well, you know, my income is pretty good, I have assets, there's no way I can get aid, so they don't even try. Is that the right way to look at that?
Absolutely not. I mean, we had a situation like that, for example, with a husband and wife who had done a great job building a very healthy net worth, really healthy net worth. And they came to us, and come to find out, they were about to report their business assets. So they had built a very nice business together, but they were about to report their business assets incorrectly when they filled out their paperwork. And it would have eliminated any opportunity for gift aid and grants and things. It would have really impacted them severely. And yet, with just a few moments in the beginning of our assessment, because we talked about a lot more opportunity to help this couple who thought there was no way for them to get help. But just in the beginning of the assessment, I uncovered that right away, and we stopped that in its tracks. So we always tell,
and that's interesting because parents just don't know, and there are some really unique strategies to take advantage of. I've heard you talk before about, for example, there's this common method of saving for college in 529 plans, but oftentimes you end up unwinding those because those can work against families. It can mean a negative outcome for you for your expected family contribution, increase that number. And so that's one of those things that you look at when parents are planning to help them understand all that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big, big misunderstanding. And the college savings conversation is really driven mostly towards that college 529 account. But people don't understand how that will impact them when it comes time to pay for college. And, one family recently, it was a $24,000 mistake, and it's easily solved, and there's definitely planning around it, and there's processes and a structure to it. But it's definitely not something to just assume that that's the right way to go. We always get into the assessment, and we'll do that. We'll run the numbers, and we'll find out how it looks.
Right. And there's a lot of money out there available for financial aid. What is the number?
Oh, it's over 169 billion, call it 170 billion with a B, that's available. And it's a first come, first serve.
Meaning what? First come, first serve? What do you mean by that?
Well, meaning that the federal government and private education, they all have a certain pool of money that they give out in a given academic year. And if you submit your financial aid applications or your private college applications incorrectly, and you have errors, which happens all too often, those can get kicked back and sometimes add an extra 4, 5, 6 weeks to your processing, which puts you at the back of the line, and which means that money is going to potentially run out before you get to the front of the line where your application is reviewed. It's a finite, it's a big ouch for some people.
Yeah, well, I know that we want to keep this short and sweet. People are busy, and so I want to kind of conclude with this thought. Tell me if this is an accurate statement, that what parents have to understand is that it's a complicated process in getting financial aid.
Yes.
You don't have to be broke on the street in order to qualify for it. There's a lot of dollars out there. First come, first serve, and it's about making sure your assets are structured properly. You know your expected family contribution. Are there tools and strategies you can engage in to reduce it, and really take control of it? And I think, obviously getting with you and doing the complimentary assessment where you will tell, families that you're talking to exactly what their expected family contribution is and whether, they can reduce it or not. Is that a great, great way to sum it up?
I think that's the perfect way to sum it up. You don't know what you don't know, and you should find out as soon as possible.
Okay. Well, Craig, thanks so much for jumping on. Thanks everyone for listening. Until next time, thank you.